So welcome to another episode of Behind the Roast. This month we're diving into more of the business end of things. For this purpose, I've invited Valerian Rala here at Boot Coffee Campus to share his expertise. He has about 20 years of coffee roasting, coffee business expertise and experience, and he is going to share with us some important highlights and important perspectives on strategy, and then we're diving into branding and packaging, and then we're also going to take you by the hand to lead you through this really helpful program, Excel-based program that allows you to how to calculate your profitability and your cost of goods sold. So I hope you enjoy this month's Behind the Roast. I'm here with Valerian. He's the campus director at Boot Coffee Campus, but he has also a wealth of experience and information about how to start up a coffee roasting business. He is teaching about almost every 6 weeks a very cool course that is basically focusing all about how to start a coffee roasting business, learning the craft, but also learning the magic of how to run this business. So, Valerian, to start with you, what do you consider as the most essential part of a coffee roasting business from a planning perspective?
I think figuring out what is your lifestyle is the first one. Basically knowing how much money you need for your living. And based on that, you have to create your business model for your company. Because maybe your lifestyle is something out of reach, the coffee business. Because spoiler alert, coffee roasting business is not a quick get-rich-quick scheme. On the other hand, it is a very rewarding industry.
Yeah, and I always like to remind our clients and our students about the three important strategic questions. What are you selling? So what is the product you are selling? Define it, describe it. Who are you selling to? So who are your customers? And then how do you stay ahead of the competition? Because if you're becoming successful, then your competition will start coming after you very quickly. So talking about, how about scanning the market? How can you understand who your customer is? How does that work?
There's multiple ways to do that, but the easiest and the basic is look in your backyard. Who is around you? You probably have an idea where are you going to start your business. So check out your area. Are there other coffee roasters there? And what do they offer? Maybe they offer something different what you want to offer. So that's a really good way to start to figuring out who is your competition, or maybe even kind of like a supplemental business, because maybe they offer dark roast, you're going to offer light roast, right?
Yeah, or you might have decided to start a wholesale roasting business. In your area where you work, regardless where you are in the world, there might be a need for a roaster, your business, to roast and distribute certified organic beans. And there's a wealth of information about this. So these are some examples of how you can do a quick market scan, market survey. If we continue on this topic of the beans, so how about that important element of the business, which is finding and sourcing your high quality beans? Do you have some tips there for the starting coffee roasting entrepreneurs?
Yes, the word here is starting. And I understand most of you are looking into something like a direct trade because you want to work with the farmers. I get that. I'm the same way. But the secret is that when you're starting, we highly recommend that you start with an importer. And then you say, well, I want to have a relation with a farmer. You can have that. You can have that through social media. You can find amazing farmers or producers on Instagram, for example. Contact them and ask them, hey, who is your importer? And Willem, you can tell us, why do you think it's important to work with importer?
That's an important question about the importer. That's confusing language. But, like here in the US, where we are located, here in the Bay Area, a very well-known, well-assorted coffee importer is Royal Coffee. Or if I go to Europe, then a highly specialized importer, for example, is Traboca. That's a company that also has their own inventory. So the relationship with the importer is key. A buzzword, especially if you read the coffee literature of the last years, is direct trade and direct relationships. So Valerian, how accessible is a direct trade relationship or a direct trade relationship for a small roasting company?
I think it's inaccessible really when it comes to direct trade, meaning that you are going to import your own coffee, because on the end of the day, it's you're dealing with logistics more than with coffee itself. The direct relation, yeah, you can do it. It's easy. Again, you just find your producers and hey, contact them and find your importer.
And in the community of Giesen users, Giesen roasters, there's many companies that start, of course, with a relatively small machine, a W6 or a W15, and they will have a need for ongoing supply of micro lots, of relatively small quantities of coffee, and this is where an importer nearby can really help you to obtain that goal. If the importer offers some form of a relationship with a cooperative or with a producer in a country like Panama or Brazil or Ethiopia, that's great. You should make use of that, right?
Yes. Importer or not, always cup and taste your coffees.
And just coming back to the first topic where we started, the financial part, we, as part of a bonus for this month's Behind the Roast, we're actually giving you free this really cool it's kind of an Excel program with which you can calculate what is your real cost of goods sold. And your green coffee cost is a central factor in that, obviously. So roasting equipment and roasting techniques. Now we are, of course, here sitting also with and on behalf of Giesen. So Giesen being one of the, if not the foremost supplier of high quality roasting equipment. So Valerian, you've worked with all kinds of roasting equipment in your life, and so have I. So what can you share in regards of this selection of the roasting equipment and your tools for your production?
Yeah, so it's a complex question. There's a lot to talk about, but I'll tell you one thing which is my biggest pet peeve, and that's when the size of the batch is overpromised. That's so bad. It's so bad for a business, and also it's disappointing that sometimes you're buying a 6 kilo, 5 kilo roaster, but you can really roast only 3 or 4 kilos. And I know that Giesen is not like that. That's why I love Giesens, because actually sometimes the power is too much.
We once had a client who thought he was actually roasting, don't ask me why he thought this, but he thought he was roasting with a 15 kilo machine, and he was roasting 15 kilos, and he was pushing this roaster, and he called me, Willem, I have such trouble in getting my roast time under 12 minutes. And I asked him, how many kilos are you roasting in this roaster? 15 kilos. And then I asked him, aren't you roasting with a W6? And then he shamefully recognized that he was actually had been trying to roast 15 kilos in W6, and he was successful with that. That gives you a statement that Giesen machines are kind of over-engineered, overpowered from that perspective. But typically, as Valerian said, a lot of manufacturers, especially the more, let's call them the exotic manufacturers, tend to overestimate the capacity of their machines, and that leads to bad surprises. My tip is, insist that you can roast a full batch on that machine. Ideally, you do this before you purchase the machine, and make sure that you can roast that full batch in 12 minutes or less. That means that the machine is really ready to do the job. Let's look at another topic, but we're going to review this more in detail, and that's this aspect of branding and marketing. We're going to actually review some really cool examples of packaging, but Valerian, from the perspective of branding and marketing, what is there so magic about the brand as it pertains to your coffee roasting business?
Well, my favorite definition about branding is more about real life than just a definition from Investopedia or some book. And it's that the branding is a gut feeling about your company. And if you think about it a little bit, it's super, super powerful.
Some more coffee, buddy.
Oh, thank you so much. So when it comes to packaging or anything, logo, name, it creates gut feeling about your company. And that's why the definition is so powerful and it's so simple to imagine. Does this or that create gut feeling about your company?
And the gut feeling is it's kind of the soul of the company, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the best brands and the best logos, they tell a little story. Like, look at my shirt here. Not that I'm now patting on my own shoulder, but this logo tells a story from farm to cup, and that's kind of cool. And that's how you can also approach that branding aspect of your business. So, having said that, let's continue with this behind the roast. We're going to dive into packaging and how you can approach this at the best possible way, and also taking into account some of the environmental aspects and branding aspects. So stay with us. Let's review packaging.
Welcome in my playground of coffee packagings. This is one of the favorite things for our students. When you come to the course, we're going to play with these for hours and discover them. But today, Willem gave me only a couple of minutes, so I'm going to address a few issues. One is the green sustainability. Second will be the cost of this packaging. So let's start with the green sustainability. What would be your option? So something like this, right? It's from our friends from Verve. They use this bag, which is designed from a material called biotre or biotree, depending how you pronounce it. And it has the valve, which usually every coffee bag should have, right? You have to release the carbon dioxide. And it has a resealable zipper here. And in this version 3.0, because biotree has different versions, you can compost the whole bag. So that's very easy, right? Now, the other option would be something like this. A box like this is actually recyclable because you have materials like metal and materials like paper, right? So this is 100% recyclable. Now, on the other hand, and no judgment, we have bags like these, for example, which are plastic. They are not recyclable. Many companies will tell you that, oh yeah, you can recycle them, but unfortunately you can't. So yeah, but they are pretty affordable. I really love this packaging. It's from Voyager Coffee. First of all, the branding is just beautiful. The colors are really communicating what they stand for. And also this bag, actually, if you will touch it, it has a texture. And I think, packaging is all about senses, your visual, maybe sounds as you open it, but definitely a lot of us miss out on a possibility of having a nice texture. So these are the options when it comes to green versus non-green packaging. Now let's talk about the cost. So many of you will start out, and you can start out with something like this. And this is digitally printed from our friends from Roaster. Maybe you heard of them. You can do small batches, so maybe that's how you start. It's not cheap to do that, but maybe that's a way to start. On the other hand, you can go to something like Alibaba or a big printer where you can print, for example, 5,000 to 15,000 bags, and you can print something like this. And it will cost you around 20, 30 cents, depending what kind of deal you cut for yourself, and this will work very well. I really like this Bluebird coffee because they printed this beautiful bag. First of all, the branding is pretty sharp, and they have this little label here. So that's how they differentiate the packaging. Please note, each of these has a different way to reclose your bag. And actually, your customers will have certain preferences with these. The most popular are definitely these resealable zippers. So that's what they like the most. Many people don't even know how to reclose these. When I moved to the United States, it took me years to learn this, I know. Other packaging you can have are, for example, boxes like these. These look really, really cool, but they will cost you. But at some point, maybe you want to invest in something like this because they will stand out. Just imagine a grocery store or any shop, you have these two bags, right? Which one would you buy? I would buy this one.
Much fun, huh? So to close off this episode of Behind the Roast, we're going to send you home with 7 tips. Valerian, you start.
All right. So first, know why are you doing this business. There's a great video by Simon Sinek. Check it out. Why? Of course, you have to your business plan. You have to know your expectation. And also, do not forget to have an exit plan. What are you going to do with your company in 20, 30 years?
And second, research and analyze your market. So do your homework. Look who your customers might become. What are their needs? What are their preferences? Are their income models and all of that? Because it helps you determine your potential success.
Stand out. There's no way that you can say, oh, I'm standing out because my coffee is the best. That doesn't cut it. Have a clear answer for your customer why they should buy your coffee.
And invest in quality roasting equipment. Of course, you have to invest in Giesen, that's what we think. And so also experiment with your roasting profiles with that equipment so that you're going to become successful upon the first week of opening your business.
Following that thought, efficiency and reliability is core for your business. A bad roasting equipment or packaging equipment will cost you money on the long run, so investing in that is really, really crucial.
Next is build a strong brand identity, because it's an extension of who you are, of who or what you want this business to be. It's the soul of the business.
Do not overthink it. Start it. Because when you start your company, that's when you're going to learn about the business, about roasting, and your customer. So just do it.
That's it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Behind the Roast. Write us for any questions. You can write us at info@bootcoffee.com or go through the Giesen website. And good luck, have fun, and be successful.
Come to our course, come.